For thousands of years, we've been under the impression the Bible was meant to be taken seriously. Finally, a new translation that'll change all that. This is Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible.
Reach out, touch faith.
Welcome to Season 5, Episode 2 of Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible, the final season. Maybe, I guess. It's got to end at some point. David Tuckman at my house. Each week on the show, a guest joins me and tries to read a big chunk of my own personal translation of the Hebrew Bible while I make fun of it. And this time you're reading a portion known in Hebrew as Vet Chanan and in English as You'll See. You may have noticed that this is the second week in a row that an episode has come out. I'm putting out Season 5, one after another. Very exciting. Ending it well. Ending it strong. Here we go. Here's the podcast. I want to welcome back to the show Steve DeSiena. Steve is a comedian, a friend of mine, and you might remember him from episode 6 way back in 2012 in the first season when we read some really trippy stuff. How you doing, Steve?
Pretty good. It's a pleasure to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, welcome back. So, this is the first time I've ever had a return guest on the show.
Wow.
So you should be honored. And what I thought was, because we're reading Deuteronomy, or Devarim, or Words as I call it, which is the last book of the Torah, of the first 5 books, it really is mostly a recap and going back over a lot of stuff that's already happened. So I thought, why not bring back some other people and check in with how they're doing and see how some of our guests from way earlier, 8 years ago, are doing. So how have the last 8 years been, Steve?
Oh, gosh.
Sum it up real quick.
Highs and lows.
Yeah, tends to happen.
Well, we're in a fun time, so I don't want to dwell too much on it because
not a lot of live shows, right?
Yeah, none. In fact, you can hear the sirens blaring through the streets, trying to get us back to live comedy.
That's what this is really all about. It's all about bringing back live comedy.
People are like, when is it going to come back?
We demand it. Protesters out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
The Congress is meeting, trying to bring back live comedy.
They're like, when are we going to laugh again?
Exactly. How are you doing in general?
Pretty good. I'm, living in it. Well, since we last spoke, not since we last spoke, but since I was last on this podcast, I had moved from Queens to Brooklyn. So that's an 8-year span. I moved. Oh, I moved twice in that span.
Yes, that's right.
Exciting.
Oh my gosh.
But not out of New York.
Yeah. No, why would you?
I have not read any more of the Bible, but I did work for a company that was very Orthodox Jewish. So I learned how to pronounce a few things.
Okay, so good. You're prepared for this. So I wanted to talk about religion a little bit with you again. How would you describe, like, what I've asked you in the past was like your religious background. I'm sure people can go and listen to that. I'm not going to ask you that again. But how would you describe yourself now? Has anything changed in how you approach religion in any way?
I still kind of view religion as like a non-thing in my life. I think that the most exposure, I went to church on Christmas Eve last year because my girlfriend's family is fairly religious. And that kind of like, going back to church probably for like a full like mass for the first time since I was, I would say either early teens or younger, really. It brought back a lot of just like sort of memories, and it was Protestant, and it's just a lot of like reciting things together and chanting, and well, maybe it's not chanting necessarily, but singing and stuff like that. And afterwards, everybody, the thing that I kind of have sort of come to, not only as a result of that, but just sort of the culmination of things leading up to that, and talking to my girlfriend and stuff, who is not particularly religious but knows a lot about it, is really strongly about the community aspect of religion and how people interact with it and how they interact with each other. So going to Mass on Christmas Eve, everybody knew each other. They were like, oh, they knew the young woman who like sung during whatever, during communion. And that I sort of felt a little bit more. and like recognize a little bit more, but I would say my relationship to the actual stories are still pretty not particularly existent.
Okay, so I was going to ask you if there are any stories that the intervening 8 years have stuck out to you, have heard, or have mattered to you, but sounds like no.
No, I would say no. I still, know all the classics.
Mm-hmm. Those are the
The
good ones.
hits.
This is a
This
classic
one is big,
that we're
yeah.
going to talk about today, or a flashback to a classic. So in case, yeah, this whole season is just one big flashback, as you'll see as we get into this.
Oh, the filler.
Do you still? Yeah, exactly. It's a clip show. Steve, do you believe in God?
I would say no.
Okay. Wait for that to pass. I'm just waiting for the siren. Steve, do you live near a fire department?
I live on a main road in
Okay.
Brooklyn. You've been
Yes.
here.
I have been there. It is a main road. It's a pretty important
It's a main
road. Have there been
narrow road.
Have there been a lot of restaurants open on that narrow road?
I think that, well, yeah, definitely people, restaurants have they've been opening out front, but I think that in Greenpoint, people are generally, I live in Greenpoint. In Greenpoint, people are generally pretty respectful in northern Brooklyn. But I live on top of Williamsburg, which is disrespectful. So
That's their
yeah,
motto.
we disrespect our service workers. So yeah, it's a lot of like dodging, wait staff and stuff who shouldn't really be.
Shouldn't
Shouldn't
have to
come out and do this.
Should be paid to sit at
Yeah.
home, maybe. Would be fine because there's, a virus. Yeah, it's a weird biblical time. I think you missed a lot of the intervening episodes, but there have been a lot of plagues that you missed.
Oh, I
and
bet.
I think, yeah, we probably just need to, one way to solve a plague is to make like a golden snake and have somebody stand in the middle of town with it, or run to the temple and make some offerings. So I wish people would try that because maybe that would help. Who knows? Or just wear some masks.
Yeah, or just do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go to the beach and
Just
live
be
your
like,
life.
let's just let God sort them out.
Mhm.
Steve, are you ready to read the Torah?
I'm ready and excited.
All right, this is Torah, a loose translation, Book 5, Words, Episode 2, I Pleaded, Chapter 4, in which Moshe guilt trips the people. For if you're following a normal translation, that's Deuteronomy 3:23 to 3:29.
My master Jehovah is what. Oh, sorry. Let's try that again.
Okay.
Moshe is something, I worked with a Moshe in that job that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And he's super nice. I would say one of the few people in that job that I kind of enjoyed working with. And that is how I learned to pronounce Moshe. I was pronouncing his name wrong. He never corrected me. And
Oh,
then-
how would you pronounce
well,
it?
it looks like Moshe.
It does look like Moshe, yes.
All right, let's start.
Okay.
My master Jehovah is what I said as I pleaded with Jehovah. You've just started to show me your greatness and your strong hand. What El is there in the skies or the ground?
I didn't know elves or gods live in the ground, but all right.
Who could do what you've done and have your strength? Please let me cross and see the good land on the other side of the Yarden, the good mountain, and also Lebanon. Now,
For context, for you, Steve, by the way, at the end of last episode, Moshe was just told by Jehovah, aka God, that he has brought the people, or in Moshe quoting what had happened in the previous season, he's explaining to the people that God brought him there and told him, I'm not going to let you into the land of Israel. You're not going to get to cross this river, and you can't actually see it.
it's fucked up.
Yeah, just taunting him.
And Yarden, for the uninitiated, that's Jordan. Or,
That's the Jordan River.
right, that's
yes.
Jordan River. Okay. Sorry, I figure some people might see my name on the podcast, click it, and be like, I actually don't know anything, but I just want to hear Steve's voice.
Yeah. Yes. They've been missing you without this live comedy that we're all trying to bring back.
Okay. But Jehovah didn't listen. He turned away from me because of you people.
Whoa.
Enough, Jehovah said. Stop talking to me about this. Go up to the top of the cliff and look to the west, north, south, and east.
Which is a weird order. He basically had to like flip back and forth while he was doing it.
You can see it all, but you will not cross the Yarden. Command Yeshua. Oh, Yehoshua.
Yehoshua. AKA Joshua.
Command Yehoshua. Strengthen him. Give him courage, because he will cross before this nation and he will divide the land. You see? Back then, we were staying in the valley facing Peor. Is that right?
That's right. That was chapter 4,
Yay.
a short one. This is chapter 5, in which Moshe tells people about some rules.
Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy 4:1 to 4:24.
What rules could these be?
They're fun ones.
Now, Yisrael, listen to the decrees and the rules I am teaching you, Moshe said. You have to do these so you can stay alive and take over the land Jehovah, the Elohim of your fathers, is giving to you. Don't add or subtract the things I am commanding you. Guard the commandments of Jehovah, your Elohim, that I am commanding you. So does he clarify that Jehovah is his Elohim actually every time?
Many, many times. I mean, this comes from, so, this is something that I actually changed since the first season. There are two ways that God is referred to in the Bible. There's the tetragrammon, or the four-letter name of God, which I've translated as Jehovah, and then there's the Elohim. And a lot of times in English translations, those are just translated as God or the Lord. So what I've done is tried to indicate when there are both names used, because sometimes one name is used and sometimes other names are used. A lot of people think that it's because there are two different texts that were merged together. So it's possible there were two different characters that were merged to create one character of God. And then this Deuteronomy was likely written by a different author who was involved in that merging. So a lot of times you see both used here.
Sounds like the Bible needed a character Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what Jehovah did at, sorry, Baal
That's
Peor.
all right.
Am I saying Peor right? Okay,
Yeah. Baal Peor.
Peor. You saw what Jehovah did at Baal Peor with your own eyes. Every man who followed Baal Peor was destroyed by Jehovah, your Elohim. You, the ones who stuck to Jehovah, your Elohim, all lived today.
Sorry. So, Baal Peor, that's an interesting story. And let's talk about what actually happened here. So this is Baal Peor occurred in the end of season 4, episode 7, and it's the story of Pinchas. So what happened was the people of Israel got involved in another tribe called Midian, and they started sleeping with all their women and worshiping their god known as Baal Peor. And then Pinchas, in order to stop them, took a spear and stabbed a man and a woman who were in the middle of having sex through the belly in a tent, and then God wreaked his wrath on them. But it, that's just an allusion to that happens very quickly, that the people here, I guess, we're assuming knew.
Huh. I appreciate that, because in serialized comic books, when something significant would happen or someone would reference something, you'd see a little bar at the bottom that'd be like, look up, issue 152 of whatever, and you'd be like, great, I got to go into the back logs and read a whole comic book to get it. But here you just get it all.
You get it all. I explained it. I know this would be definitely one of those situations.
Listen the hell up. I taught you the decrees and rules that Jehovah, my Elohim, commanded so you could keep them in the land you are going to. You'll guard over them and do them because of your wisdom and understanding. All the other nations who heard these decrees were like, wow, this must be a very wise and understanding nation.
Sure.
Is there any other nation as good as you are that gets to have an Elohim as good as ours, close to them whenever we call him? Is there any other nation great enough to get the teachings full of righteous decrees and rules I am giving to you today?
He seems like he's trying to sell this a little bit too hard. Feels kind of insecure.
Just be sure to watch yourselves and guard your souls a lot, so you don't forget the things you saw with your eyes, and this stays in your heart the rest of your lives. Teach your sons and their sons about the day I stood before Jehovah, your Elohim, at Chorev.
Or Chorev.
I said it right. I meant
Yes,
what
you
I
did.
said when I said Chorev. Gather the nation and let them hear my words, Jehovah said. I'll teach them to fear. Me, all... Sorry, I'm relying on David scrolling.
I should scroll faster.
Me, all the days they are alive on this earth, their sons will learn.
Oh, they will learn.
You got close and stood under the mountain while it was consumed in a fire that reached the heart of the sky with darkness, cloud, and mist.
Ooh, mist. On PC?
Kind of kind of decreased in severity. Darkness, cloud,
Yeah.
and mist.
Some dew.
And a light dusting. Jehovah spoke to you from the fire. Let me read that again. Jehovah spoke to you from the fire. You heard the voice of his words, but saw nothing, only voice.
That's how talking works.
He told you his covenant that he told you his covenant. He told you his covenant that he commanded you do the 10 things.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote them on 2 stone tablets. What? At that time,
Movie sounds better. I guess the movie title sounds better as the 10 Commandments, but I like the 10 things.
The 10 things on 2 stone tablets. At that time, Jehovah commanded me to teach you the decrees and rules so you could do them in the land you're crossing over to take.
So this is weird because that whole Baal Peor thing happened like years after this whole giving of the 10 Commandment thing, but I guess Moshe didn't really care about, the timeline during this whole speech.
I wonder if anybody was reading this and was like, actually.
Excuse me?
What?
Somebody raised their hand while he was speaking to them, and they were like, excuse
Wait a
me,
second.
an episode...
This didn't happen yet.
There was an episode recorded in the UK when David read this.
They changed Moshe into a woman.
They knew about my podcast then. They had, yeah.
Watch your souls carefully, because you didn't see a single image on the day Jehovah spoke with you from within the fire on Chorev. Shit, how do you say it?
Chorev.
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 I don't want to assume. Chorev.
Yeah. Chorev.
Do not become horrible and make a statue or an image.
Huh, so no statues. Is that what the Bible says? Interesting.
Do not make a male or female one, or even any of the animal on the ground, bird with wings that fly in the sky, crawly things on land, or any fish in the sea under the land.
Okay, so a commandment from God not to make a statue of anything ever.
I gotta say, I agree with this one. I appreciate the no statue rule. Unless we're talking about a popular video game character like Gex, Cloud from Final Fantasy, or some kind of anime character. That would be rad. But generally...
What about RoboCop? RoboCop?
Yeah, you know what? I agree with RoboCop in the message. The message of...
it does not say, do not make a statue of a half-man, half-machine.
Yeah. And that's an important thing
What
about the
message?
Bible is you have to think about what it doesn't say and then act on it. When you raise your eyes to the sky and see the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the stuff in the sky,
The stuff.
do not bow down to them or worship them. Jehovah, your Elohim, separated you from all the other nations under the sky. Jehovah
Don't worship them. Don't hex the moon either. Don't do it.
Jehovah took you from the iron furnace of Mitzrayim,
Mitzrayim. Or Egypt.
I just know there are diehards out there that are like, this guy is fucking it
Don't
up.
worry. There have been worse.
To be his nation like you are today. Jehovah was mad at me because of what you did and swore to me that I would not cross the Yarden and I would not come to this good land that Jehovah, your Elohim, is giving to you because I will die here. Damn. Hey, it doesn't say damn. I was just thinking, that sucks. No.
Yeah.
I will not cross the Yarden. You will cross and inherit this good land. He's going to inherit it.
Just guilting them. He's such a dick.
Yeah, I'm going to die. You're going to take it all.
You're going to get it. I'm not because of you. It's your fault.
Guard yourselves so you don't forget the covenant Jehovah, your Elohim, made with you and make a statue that Jehovah, your Elohim, commanded you not to make. Because Jehovah, your Elohim, is a fire that will eat you. A jealous El.
That's chapter 5. Okay.
Sorry.
Chapter 6.
I know that there's an echo in here, but I'm actually in a dark cave.
Speaking of the Elohim. This is chapter 6, in which there is an ominous warning. Deuteronomy 4:25 to 4:40.
Let the sky and the ground be my witness. You know, they can't talk.
No. What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
When you have sons...
They say that a lot in these... nonsense.
I get the sky, but the ground?
Nothing.
When you have sons and those sons have sons and they start doing crappy things in the land, like making idols of images, you know, bad stuff in the eyes of Jehovah, your Elohim, the kind of stuff that makes him angry. You'll be thrown out of the land you're crossing in the Yarden into... Wait, sorry, let me read this again. Sorry, I had a few gins before this. You'll be thrown out of the land you're crossing the Yarden into to take over real quick.
What a sentence.
Yeah. I'm glad we agree.
Yeah.
Your days will not be long there because I will freaking destroy you.
Yeah.
Jehovah will scatter you among the nations. Damn, that's a cool way to say that someone's going to beat the shit out of you, but I don't know if that's what that means.
Dispersed.
Jehovah's going
to lose that land.
Jehovah's going to scatter you, man. Among the nations. You'll stay in those countries in teeny tiny numbers. There, you'll worship man-made Elohims carved of wood or stone. The kind that can't see, hear, eat, or smell.
That means that Jehovah can eat, and that's a good thing.
But he smells.
Kind of like Galactus.
I wonder how Jehovah smells.
Oh, he loves smelling. There's so much stuff. You got to go back to season 2. There's all this stuff about making sacrifices so he can smell them.
I get it. That's kind of...
He loves barbecue.
Little Mermaid-esque, really.
Yeah.
You'll search for Jehovah, your Elohim, and only find him with all of your heart and soul. Only once all these horrible things have happened to you... Oh, what? Only once all these horrible things have happened to you will finally return to Jehovah, your Elohim, and listen to his voice.
It's going to be a bit of a theme for this season.
Because Jehovah, your Elohim, is a merciful El.
Is he, though?
He will not abandon or destroy you.
Except for the people he abandoned and destroyed.
He won't forget the covenant he swore with your fathers. You might ask about the first days, the ones that came before you, when Elohim created Adam on the earth, from one end of the sky to the other.
The sky has ends, by the way.
Man, remember Adam?
Mm-hmm. Way back when.
Nothing as great as this has ever happened or even been heard of. Has any nation heard the voice of their Elohim speaking from within a fire like you did and lived? Or has another Elohim miraculously come to take his nation from within another nation with miracles, signs, wonders, war, and a strong hand, an outraised fist, and with great happenings like Jehovah, your Elohim, did before your eyes?
Well, not those specific things, I guess.
You have been shown that you will know. Jehovah is the Elohim, no other, alone. From the sky, you've heard his voice telling you off. On the land, you've seen his great fire, and you've heard words from within a fire. Or that's funny. It was because Jehovah loved your fathers and chose their seed after them that he took you out of Mitzrayim himself,
Yeah.
Mitzrayim himself with great strength. He will chase nations that are bigger and more powerful than you from in front of you to bring you and give you the land as your inheritance today. You will, man, this guy, wow, man, imagine I would just doze off. At this
Probably why he kept repeating it. He was just like, all right.
At some point, I'd be
Gotta
like,
get it all
looking
in.
at my watch. You will know today and put it on your hearts that Jehovah is the Elohim in the sky that is above everything. There is no other.
No, none.
You will keep the decrees and commandments I will command you today.
Oh, just get to it.
Just give me the commandments. You will teach them.
Can't keep them if you keep them from me.
You know what? I'm not even interested anymore. I would love if people were like, oh, I cannot wait to get to these 10 commandments. You will love them to your sons after you, so that your days on the land Jehovah is going to give you forever is lengthened.
Okay.
I want to say
Make it longer than forever.
something
Yeah.
also that, you know, in Mass, unless I truly wasn't paying attention, which is probably the case, I actually don't recall them reading this. You know, like I don't, and I, you know, it definitely varies, but I don't really recall them getting to the good stuff. I feel like it was always like preachy stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what goes on much in Christian services, but I feel like they skip a lot of the really dark stuff.
Yeah.
Like this.
I got a version of the Bible that was very, you know, it was pretty pleasant. But I want to see people die. I want to see people get scattered in the nations, you know.
Oh my God. You got to read all those, the prophets books that come after these. Maybe I should keep making these after this season. That's where it gets really gnarly. There's a battle with Joshua where the sun stays in one place so he can keep killing people.
Spoiler alert. That's like Mario 3.
Yeah. Exactly. That's chapter 7. That's chapter 6, chapter 7, in which Moshe sets up some safe spaces. Deuteronomy 4:41 to 4:49.
Moshe split up the 3 cities on the other side of the Yarden, the east towards the sun, so that a murderer who accidentally killed his neighbor and definitely didn't mean it can escape to one of these 3 cities and survive. Uh-oh, Reuven? Is that right? Reuven got Betzer in the desert in the land of Mishor. God got Ramat in Gilad. Gilad? And
Gilead?
Gilad and Menashe got Golan in Bashan. That was my Olympics. That is the teaching.
2020.
If the real Olympics get canceled.
Greenpoint 2020.
That is the teaching Moshe put before the sons of Israel.
Okay, so in season 4, episode 2, I call out that there's this quote. There's this thing that says in synagogue, after they read the Torah, they raise it up and they say, Zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Israel al pi Hashem, or al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. So this is the part that says Vizot HaTorah, that is the teaching, asher sam Moshe put lifnei bnei Israel. And if you take the whole sentence and translate it, it says, this is the teaching Moshe put before the sons of Israel by the mouth of God, in the hand of Moshe, right? Which makes it seem like the thing that they're holding up is the book that Moshe gave and was dictated to God. But it's a combination of 2 different verses that are found in 2 different places, and it's completely decontextualized. This is a fun episode for you because there are a lot of callbacks in it to things that you don't know about.
Yeah. And generally, I think callbacks are funny.
Mm-hmm. But that one wasn't that much.
No, it was kind of funny. These are the rules and decrees and laws Moshe told the son of Uriel when they left.
No, Yisrael, it's a typo.
Oh, sorry. It was like a new character. What? When they left Mitzrayim. They were on the other side of the Jordan in valley across from Peero in the land in the land of Sishon, the king of the Emori who sat in the Cheshbon, which Moshe the son of Yisrael struck when they left Mitzrayim. They took control of his land along with that of Og, the king of Bashan, the two Emori kings who were on the side of the Jordan to the east, where the sun is.
Mm-hmm. That's how you know.
From Arar on the edge of Nakal Arnon to Mount Shion, it's Sherman.
It's Hermon, baby.
All the plain on the east side of the Jordan until the Arava Sea under the rapids coming from the cliff. Sorry, I gave up on that sentence.
That's all right. So did I, as you can see from my typos. That's chapter 7.
All of the mispronunciations are actually typos in the original text.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's all my fault. This is chapter 8, in which it's basically a clip show. Deuteronomy 5:1 to 5:30. Strap in.
This
it's
is
famous stuff.
when it gets crazy.
It's gonna get nuts.
It's
It's gonna get all commandment-y.
Little inside baseball here, but David didn't scroll down,
Oh,
so I can't actually see the next part. All right. But however, I have it committed to memory, so
mm-hmm.
the following is from memory. Moshe gathered all of Yisrael. Listen, Yisrael, Moshe said to them, to all the decrees and rules I'm going to speak into your ears today and teach you, and make sure you do them. Yehovah, our Elohim, made a covenant with us at Chorev. Am I wrong? What is it? Chorev? Say it again. Chorev. Yeah, it's like an H.
Chorev.
It's a silent C.
Yeah.
Yehovah did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, the ones who are here today, all of us alive.
Completely not true. He made it with their fathers and not them. They were not born yet.
Yehovah spoke with you face to face at the mountain from within the fire.
Completely not true. All those people are dead now.
I stood between you and Yehovah to tell you the words of Yehovah because you were afraid of the fire and did not go up the mountain. Honestly, respect. Mm-hmm. Yehovah said, I am Yehovah.
Also, there wasn't room. There was like 1 million of them.
I am Yehovah, he said, your Elohim, who took you out of Mitzrayim, the house of slavery.
The house of slavery sounds like an exhibit at a state fair.
Don't have any gods other than me.
This sort of implies that other gods exist, but okay.
He's going to flip when he hears about Greece.
Mm-hmm. Or Baal-Peor.
Don't make an idol or any picture of what's in the sky above, the ground below, or the water under the ground.
What about in the molten core of earth? Sorry, that's all of art.
Don't bow, well, the earth is flat. Don't bow to or worship them because I, Yehovah, your Elohim, am a jealous El. I will visit the misdeeds of fathers on sons, even on the 3rd and 4th generations of my haters.
Wow, part of the first commandment is step off haters.
For those who guard my commandments and my lovers, I will do kindness for thousands of generations.
I don't think that math really works out. Also, lovers, tacky, God, tacky. That's one commandment.
I actually say this to all of my lovers. Do not use the name of Yehovah, your Elohim, for foolishness, because Yehovah...
Oh, crap. I think we got to shut this whole thing down.
Because Yehovah will not forgive those who invoke his name for silly things.
Uh-oh. That's 2 commandments. By the way, the text here is almost exactly the same as it was in Exodus in season 2 when I did this. So I copy and pasted some jokes from there as well.
It's like watching your favorite Office episode on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Okay. But by the way, this is also, there are no flourishes in this writing, so this is directly from the Bible. Watch over the fucking Shabbos day and make it holy like Jehovah, your Elohim, commanded you.
So this is the first divergence from the version of the Ten Commandments in Exodus. There it says, remember the fucking Shabbos day. And here it says, watch over the fucking Shabbos day. So one possibility is that somebody screwed up and they did it wrong. One interpretation that the rabbis like is that God actually said, remember and watch over at the same time somehow. Also, the end of the sentence was added. Sure.
For 6 days, toil and do all your work. The 7th day is a fucking Shabbos for Jehovah, your Elohim. Don't do any work. Not you, your son, your daughter, your slave, your lady slave, your ox, your donkey, all your animals, and the stranger who is in your gates. Your slave and your lady slave should rest like you forever.
So this is slightly different too. There's more specificity about the animals for some reason. But it's mostly the same. Also, that's 3 commandments.
7 left. I want to counter on this. Remember, you were a slave in Mitzrayim, and Jehovah, your Elohim, took you out of there with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Because of this, Jehovah, your Elohim, commanded you to make this day the fucking Shabbos.
So that is all brand new, which is weird because these people specifically did not leave Mitzrayim or Egypt. So in Exodus, the reason for the Shabbos that's given is because God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. Here it's because the people were commanded and told that they have to do it.
Honor your father and your mother, just like Jehovah commanded you, so that your days will be lengthened and your time you have on the ground given you by Jehovah, your Elohim, will be good.
That's 4. Slightly different, mostly the same.
Don't kill.
5.
Don't sleep with another man's woman.
6.
Don't steal.
7.
Don't bring false witness against your neighbor.
8.
Don't lust after your neighbor's woman.
9.
Don't desire your neighbor's house, their field, their slaves, their lady slaves, their oxen, their donkeys, or anything they have.
Their kids aren't mentioned because who the hell wants somebody else's kids? Also, 10 commandments, 10 things.
Confetti falls from the sky. Jehovah said these things to the entire group at the mountain from within the fire and cloud with a big voice. He did not add to them, which he could have. Let's think about this.
He could have done whatever he wanted. It could have been 20.
They were at his mercy. He wrote that part wasn't in this. He wrote them on 2 stone tablets and gave them to me. When you heard the voice from within the darkness and mountain with blazing fire, all the heads of your tribes and the elders came close to me. By the way, I don't know if this was mentioned the first time, but how funny is that Monty Python bit where they drop one of the tablets?
It's good.
This should have been...
Is that the history of the world?
I think that was history of the world, yeah. They should have based the Bible on that.
Yeah.
We saw Jehovah, our Elohim, they said, and his honor and his greatness. We heard his voice from inside the fire. Today we saw that Elohim spoke with man and they lived. But why do you want us to die? This great fire is going to eat us. If we keep hearing the voice of Jehovah, our Elohim, we will die. Yeah, tell me about it.
So does that mean like it just like he just has an annoying voice?
We can't
Don't
take
kill.
Oh, what's next? You don't want me to commit adultery? What meat person can hear the voice of the living Elohim speaking from within the fire and live? Go close and listen to everything Jehovah, our Elohim, is saying. Then tell all those things to us, and we will listen and do them. Jehovah heard what they were saying to me. I heard what they were saying to you, Jehovah said to me.
Okay.
I'm cool with it. I hope they're always smart enough to be afraid of me and guard over all my commandments in their days, so I'm always good to do them and their sons forever. Always good to them and their sons forever.
Very passive aggressive.
Go and tell them to go back to their tents. Yeah, go back to your tents. But you stay here and stand with me so I can tell you all the commandments, decrees, and rules that you will teach them so they can do them in the land I am going to give you. Therefore,
in conclusion, moral of the story.
You better watch over them to do them like Jehovah, your Elohim, commanded you. Don't stray to the right or the left from your path, Jehovah, your Elohim, has commanded you to follow. The way you'll live and have a good time in your days, you'll live and have a good time in your days will be long in the land you're going to get. P.S.
Yeah, chapter 8. That was exciting. That was an intense set piece. Didn't include the part where he threw them down and broke them and got upset, but that's okay. This is chapter 9, in which there are some more slightly newer rules. Deuteronomy 6:1 to 7:11. 7:11, baby.
These are the commands, the decrees, and the rules that Jehovah, your Elohim, commanded you to learn to do in the land you are crossing over to take possession of.
Way less narrative in this than the last time you were on this podcast, isn't there?
Is that true?
Yeah, more just talking.
Even then, could someone please kick someone in the gut? Always fear Jehovah. It wasn't the one that I did, P.S., the one where Jesus got circumcised or whatever.
Isaac. Jesus isn't in our Bible.
Forget it. To me, Isaac is Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes, but probably. And some angels show up and stuff.
Always fear Jehovah, your Elohim, and guard over his decrees and commandments I am commanding you, your sons, and the sons of your sons, all of the days of their lives, so that your days are lengthened. Listen, Israel, and guard over them to do them so that things will be good for you, and you will multiply a lot. Moo, in the land flowing with milk and honey that Jehovah, the Elohim of your fathers, told you about.
Oh my God, we get it. We get it.
I gotta say, also, milk and honey, there are a few other things that I would rather flow. What? I can't follow that up with a better joke. Use your imagination. Listen, Israel, Jehovah is your Elohim. Jehovah is one.
So, this is what's called the Shema. In Hebrew, it's Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And it's a prayer that's repeated multiple times a day. It's said in the morning and said at night, and it's said before bed a lot of times. And what follows this is part of that prayer. But this one statement is considered a really important statement, that it's Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu. That's actually the Yehovah Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. It can mean a lot of things. I've interpreted this way, that it's Elohim and that Yehovah is one, that there's a unitary to it, but it can also be a monotheistic statement. It can also mean that there is only one, that he is the one, that this God is the one. But there's a lot of ambiguity to it, and people take it to mean this clear, definitive statement that there is just one God in this text, but it doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah.
It could mean that there's a God that has no parts to him, because there are also other kinds of deities that were multifarious.
Like I said, I think if you just put a few statues around of Goku or something and just kind of worship those, eventually people would think that there perhaps is he's Jehovah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As someone who with a very I would say I need a few blanks filled in when it comes to this stuff. I think we can insert Goku in there and it'd be fine.
I think so.
You will love Jehovah, your Elohim, with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your might.
Commanding people to love them. Doesn't work for God and doesn't work for insults.
Hey, don't I know it? Put the things I'm commanding. Put the things I'm commanded you today on your. Oh, okay. Put the things I've commanded you today on your heart. Teach them to.
So you might think that's a metaphor, but no, it's taken literally, and that's why there are these. Literally, they take these words, write them into scrolls, and then put them into leather boxes, and then Jewish men and often women, depending on the group and the acceptance of that, wear them strapped to their biceps, and then it's next to their heart while they pray.
Oh, sure. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
do they think that the heart is in the bicep? I thought that they would tattoo it on their heart.
No tattoos. Tattoos aren't allowed, but they could also just strap it across their chest, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Teach them to. So wait, no Goku tattoos.
No go-to tattoos.
Right, that kind of punches
but
a
you can
hole
strap.
into my face.
You can strap Goku to your spleen or something.
Oh, kind of want to see that now. Teach them to your sons and talk about them in your tribes, in your homes, when you go on a trip, when you go to sleep, and when you wake up.
So that's when everybody says these words.
Tie them as a sign.
Literally, when you go on a trip, this is part of the prayer. And when you go to sleep.
Tie them as a sign on your hand, and it'll be a reminder between your eyes. Mm-hmm.
So again, that thing there, the phylacteries or tefillin, they're also tied on the hand, and you wear one over your head, and it's hanging between your eyes.
Write them on mezuzot, on your houses and your gates.
Right. So on every Jewish home, mezuzot maybe means lintel. So there's a container, like a small little thing that has these words and a few other paragraphs written on a scroll that's tied up really tight and then put in the container and then put on the door. So if you go into a Jewish home, there's likely one on the door.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed that. Of what? Lentil?
A mezuzah. Oh, the lintel meaning like the door frame.
Oh. I was like, that sounds delicious.
No, that's wrong. The lintel is the top. The door frame
Right.
is the side. Anyway, it's on the side.
When Jehovah, your Elohim, brings you to the land he promised to your fathers, oh boy, here we go, to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You want to correct those?
No, that's great.
And will give you good big cities you didn't build, along with houses filled with all this good stuff you didn't fill, and pre-dug wells you didn't dig, vineyards, and olive groves that you didn't plant. You'll eat and be satisfied.
Jesus. Yeah, let's just keep going.
Just be careful that you don't forget about Jehovah, who took you out of Mitzrayim, the house of slavery. Fear Jehovah.
Ungrateful.
Fear Jehovah, your Elohim. Worship him. Swear using his name. Wait a second. Do not follow after other Elohims from the Elohims of the nations that surround you. Because Jehovah, your Elohim, is a jealous El within you. You wouldn't like it if Jehovah, your Elohim, got pissed off at you from within you and wiped you out from the face of the earth. Yeah, I would hate that. Get pissed off from you from within you? Damn.
From within you. I wanted it to be like, you wouldn't like it if Jehovah started hanging out with other nations, would you? But no. Just threat of punishment.
Don't fuck with Jehovah, your Elohim, like you did at Massah. Guard over the commandments of Jehovah, your Elohim, and the laws and decrees commanded to you. Do the straight and right thing in the eyes of Jehovah, so that he'll be good to you and you'll come and take that good land that Jehovah swore to your fathers. And also, all your enemies will be chased from in front of your, will be chased from in front of you like Jehovah said. Tomorrow your children will ask, what are these laws, decrees, and rules Jehovah commanded you? We were slaves to Pharaoh and Mitzrayim, you'll tell your sons.
So this is in the book that's read at the Seder at Pesach or Passover called the Haggadah. A lot of sections from it are lifted to this, and the whole theme of it is that you're teaching your children during the Passover or Pesach Seder what happened, why you keep these laws, which is why they pull passages from this.
And Jehovah took us out of Mitzrayim with a strong hand. Jehovah gave us signs and great and terrible wonders to Mitzrayim and Pharaoh and all tier houses before our eyes. He brought us out of there to bring us here and give us this land he swore to our fathers. Jehovah commanded us to do all these decrees, to fear Jehovah, our Elohim, so that good things happen to us good things happen to us all the days we live. Like today. It'll be good for us if
we're alive.
It'll be good for us if we guard over and do all these commandments before Jehovah, our Elohim, like he commanded. When Jehovah, your Elohim, brings you to the land you're going to take possession of, and wipes out the...
Get ready.
Whoa, boy. You know what? I'm going to say it as I believe it to be phonetically.
And that will be the new version. That will be what it is.
The Chitty, the Girgashi, the Amori, the Chinani, the Pritzi, the Chivi, the Yavusi. The 7 nations that are much bigger than you and Jehovah.
And a 7-nation army, maybe.
For sure. And Jehovah, your Elohim, gives them to you and you beat them. And you have to completely destroy them and not offer them any treaty or sympathy. This would be the part in the game at which I would be jamming the B button to like move forward through the text. I'd be like, yes. Yeah, sure. The shitty.
Yeah.
Don't join with...
Only this is an entire hour of the game. You just sit there with it.
Don't join with them. Don't give your daughters to their sons and don't take their daughters for your sons. They will turn your sons away from me and they will serve other Elohims and Jehovah will get so super mad at you and destroy you real fast. Instead, scroll down too far. Instead, this is what you'll do to them. Destroy their altars, break their pillars, cut down their special stands, and throw their graven images into the fire.
Destroy their statues when you defeat them.
Because you are a nation holy to Jehovah, your Elohim. Jehovah, your Elohim, chose you to be his nation. Yeah, we get it. Treasure from all the nations on the face of the earth. Jehovah didn't choose you because you were greater than all the other nations, but because they were less of you.
That's kind of a neg.
Because from the love of Jehovah and keeping the vow Jehovah swore to your fathers, Jehovah took you out of Mitzrayim with a strong hand and redeemed you from the house of slaves, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim. You knew that Jehovah, your Elohim, is the Elohim, the true El, who guards the covenant and does kindness to his lovers and those who keeps his commandments for 1,000 generations. He repays everyone who hates him to his face and tries to destroy him. He won't wait for his haters. He'll repay them to his faces. You'll keep his commandments, decrees, and rules I command you to do today.
That's chapter 9. That's episode 2. Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. I love recapping and learning things for the first time myself.
You're very welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the part of the show where we have a Devar Torah, which literally means Torah word. So we try to sum up everything that's just been read into a single word. So can you think of a single word to describe what it is that you've read today?
Rules.
Yeah. I think rules works. Do you want to defend your Torah word?
Yeah, I mean, it's the 10 Commandments, you know. It's all about rules, so I guess maybe that's probably where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was gonna say, yeah, recap. This is kind of like this. There's a lot of stuff there, not much organization to it. There's a lot about there's a lot of conditioning. Like there's a lot that's conditioned on following these rules. You know, it's like this is one of those ones where it's kind of like, you know, where they talk about football, like the NFL, that if you take like a 3-hour broadcast and you trim it down to just like the moments of actual action, it's about like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel there's like a minute and a half of actual rules in this, which is Yehovah talks a lot. Moshe talks a lot.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. He definitely. I mean, I could imagine somebody got bored, while listening
Mm-hmm.
to him at some point. There's definitely they
Mm-hmm.
definitely leave out key parts of the Bible where they're like, and then they were bored. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not that I feel like
Well,
this is particularly boring. I'm not saying that the
yeah.
actual reading
No.
of
I
it is
get it.
boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's quite a long-winded dude, and I'm sure somebody was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that guy fucking will not shut up about these commandments."
Yeah. You don't really get much perspective on like the ground floor, like how the people are reacting to this.
Right.
It's just really Moshe talking. He's like, "Yeah, I talked for a while and everyone loved it. It was great."
Yeah. I'm also thinking
That's
back to, the beginning of the episode. I mentioned that I worked with a Moshe. It's quite,
mm,
to name your kid Moshe,
yeah.
that's pretty ballsy, you know?
Yeah, he's the greatest prophet in the history in the world.
I mean, one of the most important figures of the Bible, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're just going to you'd be like, yeah, that's Moshe. When he,
yeah.
presumably they name him the moment they pop out. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's Moshe.
No, they wait a week.
Yeah.
They have to think about it
Yeah.
because they have to do the circumcision 8 days later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, yeah. I mean, a lot of them are passed down, so every Moshe probably just comes from original Moshe, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on this or anything else that this brings up for you? Anything you want to talk about?
No, I think that I think that it's kind of, it's in reading this translation of it as someone who didn't really read this, we all know the 10 Commandments for sure.
Yes.
But I would say a relatively fewer number of people have actually read this particular moment or any of the moments in which, this is sort of revealed or he explains them to, so like, I personally, I kind of really enjoyed reading this, and I even Googled it a bit just to, make sure that I understood the context of everything. But I think it's kind of interesting, as someone, I'm sure nobody, and I'll say this for anybody that's listening, nobody listens to a podcast hoping that the guests don't actually know the subject matter. But if you think of it more of like, I learned this. I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this are already pretty familiar with this stuff and are listening to this sort of take on it. I appreciated learning it.
Cool. No, I mean, I think what's interesting is that it's like typically represented as this discrete event that like happened. Like this is the giving of the law, and then and then like he walks down, he throws one down, or he throws them all down, and then it's over. But it really isn't. Like there's the giving, and the assumption when God starts talking is that he's just going to keep talking and speak the entire thing to them, and they're like, no, we can't deal with that. Moshe go up, and that's when he goes up for like 40 days and 40 nights and spends the whole time listening to God, who clearly can speak for that much time. But like it's this continuous event. It's not like it stops.
Right.
Like he goes back and continues to get more rules. There's more than just those 10.
And when you think about it too, I mean, when I picture it, the 10 Commandments, you always picture like an iconic image of Moses standing at the top of a great mountain with like lightning behind him and like wind, and he's like holding this and be like, this is what God said or whatever. And then when you read this, it's just like, all right, we get it.
It was way more boring. The fire was there, but the spectacle only is exciting for so long.
Yeah.
I think also, it's interesting because it's not clear what's actually written on them. In Exodus, it does seem like it's more than just these 10, like the whole of the law is written on it. And here, this is a bit of a revision that it's just these first 10.
Yeah.
So it does look like that changed at some point. Somebody decided to change what the story is in between the two events. The other thing is that, just to point out, the way that I divide the commandments up, my count of 10 is different than the typical traditional count of 10. One of the first two, I turn into just one, and it still ends up being 10. I don't know how I did it. Just to point it out. People are like, hey, that's wrong. I know. I just did it different. Anyway, Steve, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah.
Really
thanks again for having me.
Being able to read it. Is there anything you want to plug or any place that you want people to check you out online?
There's nothing going on right now. So if you want to follow my Twitter, I might have some fun news coming up, but it's one of those
Okay.
things where if it falls through, then there won't be fun news. But you'll still get an occasional humorous tweet once a week at
Yes.
SDCiena.
Go follow Steve. He's a really funny guy, and hopefully he'll have some fun news for us soon. As always, check us out on Twitter at OMGWTFBible, or on Facebook, facebook.com/OMGBible, Instagram too. If you like the show, please rate and review it on iTunes. If you don't like the show, don't do anything. Tell the world about the show, though, if you do like it. Here's a way to share it. Go to your local grocery store and in between, open up a box of cereal, put a USB key with the show on it, then close the cereal back up, and then write free prize inside. See what happens. This is definitely a good way to get more people on the show. I want to thank you, Steve, the guest, for being here. I want to thank, who do I usually thank? I don't remember now. I want to thank all Jewish people in history for making this book and putting it together and making all of this possible. I want to thank you for listening to this. Thank you for listening. And as always, please be sure to join us next week, because next time in the Bible, more of the same.